Good morning, everybody. We are live from the birdhouse, and today we've got an update for you about the different types of birds people are seeing in their backyards, different birds and some butterflies. And one thing is for sure, there are a lot of baby birds out there. So we've been getting lots and lots of reports about that. As always, we love to know what kind of things you're seeing. You can put those in the comments. You can put any kind of questions that you have to, or you can just say hi. I pulled a whole bunch of photos from the past couple of years here to show you the different kinds of babies you can expect in your backyard, especially right now. And also Baltimore Orioles. People are reporting Baltimore Orioles coming back to their jelly feeders. If they did dip away for a little bit, they are definitely coming back. And they will be bringing their babies soon. So soon you'll start to see those younger Orioles coming to your feeders as well. If you've been having the adults coming, keep your eyes out for the babies because they are going to be next. You might see the adults with bills full of insects that will keep on going as the young kind of get older and start exploring out on their own. You might see less of that, but at the moment, a lot of these parents are still feeding their fledglings lots and lots of insect material. So having a feeder out with mealworms in it is ideal for these birds at this time of the year. Getting lots of reports about babies jumping around on the ground. That is totally normal this time of the year. So if you see a bunch of birds that are on the ground, maybe not flying very well, that is totally normal. This is part of their development, and it will usually be just a couple of days, and then they are old enough to do a little bit more flying on their own. But the parents will still visit them and still feed them, so it's nothing to be worried about as long as it doesn't look like the bird is injured or anything like that. They are totally fine. There are, like I said, lots of different babies out there. We're getting reports on young woodpeckers coming out to feeders. Here's a picture of some northern flickers sticking their heads out of a nesting cavity. You can see the parent there has got its bill full of some kind of food, and the young are going right for it. Really cool photos there that had been sent in by Mark. This is what your typical northern flicker looks like. You can tell you've got yourself a northern flicker when they're flying. You can see their yellow feathers like this picture shows here. They have a yellow wash on the underside of their feathers, and they have a lot of polka dots on their breast. So that is the northern flicker. This is an interesting photo. I love this picture because it shows the adult taking some debris out of the nesting cavity, which they do. This is called a fecal sac, and the adults will, the babies will do their business, if you will, in the nesting cavity, and then the adults will remove that. So this is a really cool photo here of an interesting moment that Mark was able to capture and send in to us. So again, another northern flicker. Pileated woodpeckers, another type of woodpecker that is feeding its young right now. This is a photo taken from Tinker Nature Park. A couple young pileated woodpeckers sticking their head out of their nesting cavity. And here they are without the adult. And now they're looking the other way, probably looking for their parent who will be feeding them. And then downies, we've been getting lots of reports of little downy woodpeckers coming to not only suet feeders, but peanut feeders, even Niger feeders. A lot of the times young downy woodpeckers will eat the Niger seed, or if you're feeding the Finch Favorite blend that has the ground up sunflower hearts, they really like that as well. But here's a really fun picture of a little juvenile downy woodpecker with its parent here, photo by Bob. And here's a younger red-bellied woodpecker. You can see it just looks a little disheveled, and that doesn't have its adult plumage going yet. You might see these in your backyard going to your feeders. Same kind of feeders like the downy woodpecker and the pileated and the flicker. They love the suet feeders, and they love the peanut feeders especially, but they'll also eat the black oil sunflower seed. Warbling vireo, you might hear them in the woods, both the warbling vireo and red-eyed vireo. And here's a picture of a warbling vireo sitting on a nest from the archives here that I pulled out from Bob from a couple of years ago. Really, really neat. So a lot of these birds are still nesting. So if you're not hearing as many birds right now, that's pretty common because they are hunkered down, they're being quiet, they're trying not to draw attention to themselves while they're sitting on their eggs or while their nestlings are there and they're feeding them. They're trying not to be too loud so predators don't know that they're around. Fun pictures here. This says early bird gets the caterpillar, yellow warbler and warbling vireo out early this morning. You can see this warbling vireo here has a bright green caterpillar in its bill. And here is a yellow warbler. I've been seeing lots of yellow warblers out there, and they're pretty chatty. So you might hear the yellow warblers all summer long. They tend to sing quite a bit. Lots of eastern bluebird activity out there too. They can have 2 to 3 broods a year. So most reports are that they are on their second round of eggs right now. So if you've got your bluebird box occupied, probably it's got eggs in it right now, but you might be on the edge of those eggs hatching and having the second brood of nestlings soon enough. Also, wrens. Wrens can have, depending on the species, the house wren can have up to 2 broods a year. Carolina wrens, 2 or 3 sometimes. So we've been getting reports of wrens having, again, their second brood too, and a lot of juvenile wrens out there bouncing around in backyards. And some of them will come to feeders, especially the Carolina wrens will come to the feeders more so than the house wrens do. So you might see some of them flying around your backyard or coming to your feeders. I love this series of photos that Chris had sent in of young chickadees. The chickadees tend to just have 1 brood a year, and they've pretty much gone through the nesting process already for this year. But these are really, really cute photos here of the juvenile chickadee. I don't know if it gets much cuter than that. We're having a lot of reports about the juveniles out into the world now, the little chickadees. And here's some photos here. Part of this series, Chris says, the baby chickadee finally fledged, and I was lucky enough to see it happen. The parents were coaxing it out by making lots of noise and holding some food just out of reach. It finally squeezed out of the hole and then hung out by the patio for a while and then took off into the larger trees. So exciting to see. So just like those photos that Bob had of the yellow warbler and the warbling vireo with the big caterpillar in its mouth, chickadees are doing the same thing. They're grabbing a lot of insects, especially caterpillars, to feed their young. And here's the little chickadee hanging out in the tree where it was able to fly. And chickadees, just like the wrens and bluebirds, they are cavity nesters, so they'll nest in birdhouses. But we've been getting a lot of reports of them nesting in things like tree stumps, fence posts, things that are hollow with an open top. They don't seem to mind that open top and the rain getting on them. But we've been hearing lots of reports of chickadees nesting in some interesting places this year. So some fun pictures here of the chickadees. Other birds to be out on the lookout for. Our warblers are still around, like the yellow warbler. Common yellowthroat are also pretty chatty all summer long, so you might hear them giving their witchetty call. And they've got the males have that black mask over their eyes like this. Chestnut-sided warbler, we will have them here all summer long as well. So not as active as in the early spring when they're really bouncing around in the trees where there's no leaves on them and you can see them a lot better. But we do still have them here this summer. And the female red-winged blackbird, I've been seeing a lot of these at the feeders. Some males too. The males are all black with that red and yellow wing, but the females look quite a bit different. So this is what your female red-winged blackbird looks like. Kind of looks like a large sparrow, but they've got a yellowish, light brownish kind of wash all on their face. So we get a lot of ID questions about this bird here. And killdeers, here's a picture of killdeer in a parking lot. right there with its little baby. They will nest in not the best places. They'll nest in some highly trafficked places like parking lots, and this is no exception here. This little series of photos shows the killdeer nesting right in the parking lot, but it seemed to work because it does have its little baby out there. Really, really cute. Lots of herons out there, lots of great blue herons. Here's some green heron photos that were sent in by Mark. The green heron here preening. They're a lot smaller than your great blue heron, but you can find them in the same kind of habitats. They like the ponds, they like marshes, any kind of slow moving water. You can generally find not only the great blue heron, but you can find the green heron as well. And here's some great blue herons. There's been lots of great blue herons out there. And then butterflies. So here's a photo that was sent in by Bob a while ago. A couple of other flying friends, like the eastern tiger swallowtail. If you see a really large yellow butterfly flying around, it's probably one of these, especially high up in the treetops. That's where they'll lay their eggs. So lots of them around. You might see these little guys. This is much smaller of a butterfly, more like the size of your cabbage white butterfly. This is called a little wood satyr. They've got those little eye spots on their wings. Black swallowtail, if you have any kind of herbs that you're gardening, parsley, dill, fennel, take a look at those plants and see if you see any eggs in them or little caterpillars, because black swallowtail will lay their eggs on those types of herbs. Even Queen Anne's lace, if you have Queen Anne's lace in the garden, I would definitely keep that around because it is a host plant for the black swallowtail. And the black swallowtail can look kind of different. They have some kind of different color variations. You can tell you've got yourself a black swallowtail because they've got this little polka dot on their wing, this little black dot that is surrounded by red on their wing. Not all swallowtails have that little black dot, but the black swallowtails do. For example, the spicebush swallowtail looks a lot like the black swallowtail, but it doesn't have that little black polka dot that is surrounded by red. It will have that red spot, but not the black. So this is the spicebush swallowtail. You can see them in the woods most often where they'll lay their eggs on spicebush or sassafras trees. And giant swallowtail, if you're growing hops, you might see giant swallowtail because they will lay their eggs on that. They are really quite large, and they have these beautiful yellow stripes that cover them. Cabbage white is probably your most common backyard butterfly, though, and I've been getting lots of those flitting around in the garden. You might also see pearl crescents, which are a little bit smaller than your cabbage white. And if you've got things like white turtlehead or even plantain, you might get yourself some Baltimore checker spot. I love this little butterfly. It's just bursting with color, and they've got these bright orange antenna as well. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can put those in the comments. It looks like there's a couple comments here. Randy is on. It says, good morning, everybody. Cute babies. Yes, they're very cute. It's always fun to watch the young babies as they're just starting to enter the world. They're a little awkward, but they get the hang of it pretty quick. Lynn is on, and she said, I've had a downy woodpecker at my oriole nectar all summer. He just loves it. Yeah, we get reports of some interesting birds coming to oriole feeders, especially the jelly. They can be different for everybody in their backyard, but a lot of house finches. We've heard a lot of house sparrows, cardinals. They've all been going after jelly in different people's yards. So you never know what you might get there coming to your jelly feeder, or in Lynn's case, the nectar feeder. So it looks like that's everybody's comments for the day. We'll be back on Saturday with another broadcast, and we'll share some of your photos, and we'll give you an update about what is going on in the backyard. And until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.